By Sri Lanka's best internet package for online learning and online working with many amazing offers. Call 1212 for more information. Sri Lanka Telecom.
ලෙන්ගතුකම වැඩි කරගන්න ලව්ජු රුපියල් 50ට අඩු කළා.
මාමේ එන්න අපිට එකක් බොමු.
Tonight, prison break. The Mahara prison escape attempt brought under control after the deaths of 8 inmates and over 50 others injured. Colombo under control. CMC Chief Medical Officer refutes rumours of Colombo virus situation after 4 deaths reported.
There is a very good control and we are doing everything possible to control this and contain this disease.
Also rubbishes allegations of PHIs slacking on the job.
They are very, very tired. They are working day and night for last 6 weeks, finding these people, sending them to hospitals, contact tracing, doing all that.
A step towards normalcy. Duty-free sales at the Derana International Airport to resume from tomorrow.
We are going to maintain sales kiosk in the arrival hall where the passengers can come and order their duty-free purchases.
Off the hook. The Colombo High Court acquits former Minister Basil Rajapaksa and 3 others in the Divinaguma case. All that and much more coming up on First at 9. This Monday, the 30th of November, 2020.
Nava Sunlight Sakura. Then Dikukal Pavatina Sakura Mal Suandin.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhamike Kanaka. Let's start with your local stories. Now, the unrest that erupted at the Mahara prison last evening was brought under complete control by this afternoon. But before it was brought under control, 8 remanded inmates lost their lives and dozens more were left with injuries. A prison guard, meanwhile, is also in critical condition. The police say that there had been an attempt by some prisoners to break out. The police, however, make it very clear that though the police and the special task force were called to the prison premises, they did not undertake any operations inside the prison. Meanwhile, the Defence Secretary has instructed the IGP to conduct a comprehensive investigation into yesterday's incident.
A group of inmates under remand custody in Mahara prison had continuously requested the prison authorities to conduct PCR tests on them and to grant them bail after expediting their court proceedings. With that being the case, the situation of unrest erupted among the remand inmates and the inmates serving their prison sentences last evening, as inmates serving their sentences had refused to support the agenda of the remanded prisoners. Later on, this unrest escalated into a confrontation last night and the inmates involved took 2 prison officers hostage. Several inmates had also attempted to break out of the prison and prison officers had then used minimum power to prevent the escape. In addition, the inmates have also set fire to the office of the prison superintendent, health office, the archive and the food store. However, the prison officers were able to save the armory from the rioting prisoners during the chaos. While the situation went on, Commissioner General of Prisons Tusharu Buldenia had requested the assistance from the police and the Police Special Task Force to control the situation. Accordingly, a team comprised of 200 STF personnel and a group of 400 officers from the Kalaniya and Ragama police stations arrived at the prison to maintain security outside the prison. In addition, 6 fire trucks were deployed in order to control the fire that erupted from the unrest, and they were able to extinguish it during the early hours of today. Further steps were taken to admit injured persons to the Colombo North Teaching Hospital in Ragama. Its director confirmed that a total of 71 injured persons were admitted for treatment. Out of that, 8 prison inmates lost their lives, while 63 more, including prison officers, are under treatment. The unrest at the prison premises, meanwhile, was brought under control to some extent by this morning. Further, the prison officials were able to free their 2 colleagues who were held hostage by the prisoners. Meanwhile, Senior DIG of the Western Province, Deshabandu Tennakun, also arrived at the prison premises this morning to inspect the situation. By afternoon, the situation at the prison was fully brought under control. The prison authorities then took steps to transport the remaining inmates for quarantine. However, a tense situation erupted as the relatives of the inmates who gathered outside the prison saw the prisoners being boarded into buses and being transferred. In the meantime, police media spokesperson DIG Ajit Rohana had this to say about the situation which developed at the Mahara prison.
එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ රැඳවියන්ගේ ක්‍රියාදාමයට අමතරව එක පුද්ගලයෙක්ගේ යම්කිසි නොසලකලිමත් අපරීක්ෂාකාරී ඒ වගේම කළමනාකරණ සිද්ධාන්තවලට පටහැනිව කටයුතු කරපු ක්‍රියාවලියක ප්‍රතිඵලයක් මේ ආකාරයට බලපාලා තියෙන බවට තමයි වාර්තා වෙන්නේ. දැනට ඒ සම්බන්ධව පොලිසිය විමර්ශනයක් ආරම්භ කරලා තිබෙනවා. ඉදිරියේදී ඒ පරිපාලනමය දෝෂ ඒ කටයුතු කරපු අයට විරුද්ධව විනයානුකූලවත් ඒ වගේම නීතිය මගිනුත් ක්‍රියා කිරීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. නමුත් මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ ඇතිකලේ රිමාන්ඩ් ගතව සිටින සැකකරුවන් විසින් ඔවුන් වහාම නිදහස් කරන ලෙස ඉල්ලමින් විවිධ හේතු ඉදිරිපත් කරා. එකක් තමයි මේ කොවිඩ් සම්බන්ධ තත්ත්වය. ඒ වගේම ඔවුන් යම් කිසි ආකාරයක පෙළඹවීමක් යම් පුද්ගලයෙකු කර ඇති බවට තොරතුරු ලැබිලා තියෙනවා.
අර මියගිය පුද්ගලයන් 8 දෙනෙක් ගැන කිව්වේ ඒ 8 දෙනාගේ ස්වභාවය කොයි වගේ හොඳත් නම ගිය කට්ටියද කොහොමද කියන පොඩි
නෑ අපිට දැන් තාම මේ ගැන කියන්න බෑ. හේතුව මේ ලේඛන විනාශ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. කොළඹින් අධිකරණ වලින් මේ කටයුතු අරගෙන ගිහිල්ලා තමයි ඒක කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒකට විශේෂයෙන්ම අපේ පොලිසියේ විමර්ශන නිලධාරීන් කණ්ඩායමක් පත් කරලා තියෙනවා 12 දෙනෙක්ගෙන් යුක්ත.
අර නැති වෙලා තියෙන එතකොට මේ මොන කැටගරි ඉන්න කට්ටියද මේ රිමාන්ඩ් වන්න
මේ බහුතරයක් තුවාල වෙච්ච මියගිය අය රිමාන්ඩ් එකේ හිටපයි.
In another development, Defence Secretary Major General Kamal Gunaratne has instructed Inspector General of Police C.D. Vikramaratne to probe the violence which erupted and then escalated at the Mahara prison. Accordingly, the IGP instructed the CID to conduct a complete investigation immediately pertaining to the incident. In the meantime, a group of inmates at the Negombo prison remonstrated on the rooftop calling for their cases to be expedited and bail be granted.
Safeguard hand sanitizer නවතම නිෂ්පාදන පෙළ නිරෝගිමත් දිවයකට ලංකාවේ පළමු වරට හඳුන්වා දෙන Melbourne Veggie Cracker
Crunchy Veggie.
Meanwhile, State Minister of Prison Reforms and Prisoners Rehabilitation, Dr. Sudarshini Fernandez says that investigations have been launched to uncover what she alleged to be hidden hands behind the escape attempt and resultant riot at the Mahara prison yesterday. The State Minister made these allegations when questioned in Parliament today by members of the opposition on the deaths of 8 inmates and injuries to over 50 others.
මාදන්න මහර රැඳවියන්ගේ ප්‍රධාන මිල්ලීම PCR පරීක්ෂණයක් කොට තමන්ටම රෝගය වැළඳී තිබෙනවාද කියලා පරීක්ෂා කොට ඔවුන් රෝහල්ගත කිරීම හෝ අදාළ නිරෝධායන මධ්‍යස්ථානවල ගෙන යන්න කියන ඉල්ලීම තමයි ගරු කතානායකතුමුනි තිබුණේ. ඒ ඉල්ලීම දිගින් දිගටම කරත් විසඳුමක් ලබා නොදීම හේතු කොටගෙන සිදු වූ දේ තමයි යම් නොසන්සුන්තාවයක් මතුවී තිබෙනවා. දැනට වාර්තා වෙන පරිදි රැඳවියන් 8 දෙනෙක් ආරක්ෂක අංශ විසින් තරන ලද වෙඩි තැබීම් වලින් ඝාතනය වී තිබෙනවා. තවත් විශාල සිරකරුවන් ප්‍රමාණයක් තුවාල වී තිබෙනවා. මේ කිසිසේත්ම ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී මානව හිමිකම් පිළිබඳ ඇගීමක් තිබෙන රාජ්‍යයකට සුදුසු දෙයක් නෙවෙයි.
විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ ඊයේ මහර බන්ධනාගාරය ඇතුළතත් පලායමේ ප්‍රයත්නයක් තිබුණා. ඒ පලායමේ ප්‍රයත්නය නිලධාරීන්ට වෙඩි තියලා නවත්ත ගන්න හැකියාව ලැබුණත් ඇතුලේ රිමාන්ඩ් බන්ධනාගාරගත විශේෂයෙන් බහුතරයක් ඉන්නේ කුඩු හා මත්ද්‍රව්‍ය සම්බන්ධ රිමාන්ඩ් රැඳවියන් සහ අපි එක වැලිකඩදී දැක්කා අච්චු කරපු අය අතර ගැටණයක් ඇති වුණා. මේ දෙගොල්ල අතර ගැටණයක් ඇති වුණා. විශාල දේපල මහර බන්ධනාගාරය තුල අලාභහානි සිද්ධ වුණා. ගිනි තිබ්බ. පොලිසිය කැරලි මර්දන ඒකකයේ විශේෂ කාර්ය බලකාය යොදවලා දැන් වෙනකොට ඇතුල් වෙලා ඒ සියලුම කඩේතු මර්දනය වෙලා තියෙනවා.
පරීක්ෂණයක් පවත්වනවා නම් ඒ පරීක්ෂණය ස්වාධීනව අපක්ෂපාතීව පැවැත්වන්නට ඕන. අමාත්‍යංශ ලේකම්වරයාගේ සභාපතිත්වයෙන් පරීක්ෂණයක් පවත්වනවායි කියන එක ගැන ඒක සාධාරණ ක්‍රියාවක් නොවේ. ස්වාධීන කණ්ඩායමක් පත් කරලා මේ සිදුවීමේ සත්‍ය හොයාගන්න.
අපි අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මේ පිළිබඳ අගමුල හොයන්න ඕන. මේ අදිසි හස්තයක් තියෙන බව අපිට විශ්වාසය නිසා ලේකම්තුමියගේ ප්‍රධානත්වයෙන් කමිටුවක් දැම්මා වගේ අපි සූදානම් ස්වාධීන කමිටුවක් දාලා අපිටත් අවශ්‍යයි මේක හොයන්න කවුද මේකට සම්බන්ධ කවුද මේවට අනුබල දෙන්නේ කියන එක හොයා ගැනීම රජයක් හැටියට වැදගත් වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම රහස් පොලිසියටත් අපි මේ සඳහා පරීක්ෂණ අපි බාර දෙනවා.
ඊයේ දිනේ 183ක් මහර බන්ධනාගාරයෙන් හම්බුණා. ඒ වගේම මට මතක විදියට අවුරුදු 22ක තරුණයෙක් කොවිඩ් වසංගතයේ වෛරසය හේතු කොට මහර බන්ධනාගාරයෙන් බන්ධනාගාරදී මිය ගියා. 82 කෙනෙක් මිය ගියා. කවුරු හරි කෙනෙක් මිය ගියා. නේද? 82ක් පැනලා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවෙන් දගල් නැහැ 82 කෙනෙක් මිය ගියපු ගමන් hina වෙනවා. පව් මේ මිනිස්සු ගැන. ගරු දිනේෂ් ගුණවර්ධන ඇමතුමා නේද? 82 කියන්නේ මැරෙන්න නියම කරපු වයසක් නෙවෙයිනේ. ඒතකොට ඒ රැඳවුම් බන්ධනාගාරයේ ඉන්න බොහෝ අය රිමාන්ඩ් සිරකරුවන්. අධිකරණයේ ඉදිරිපත් නොකොට මාස 11කට අධික කාලයක් සමහර අය ගත වෙමින් තිබෙනවා. අධිකරණ කටයුතු ඇන හිටීම නිසා ඒගොල්ලෝ සිටිය යුතු කාලයටත් වඩා වැඩි කාලයක් බන්ධනාගාර ගත වී තිබෙනවා. ඒ වගේම Tamante ඒ වෛරසය වැළඳේවිද කියන සැකය මතුවලා තිබෙනවා. ඒ නිසා වෙන හස්ත මොනවා තිබුණා. මෙතන සැබෑ ප්‍රශ්නයක් තිබෙනවා ඒ සිරකරුවන්ගේ නොසන්සුන්තාවය මතුවෙන්න. ඒ නිසා ඒ ප්‍රශ්නටයි විසඳුම ඕන.
Don't fear, the COVID-19 situation within the Colombo municipality is very much under control. Now, those are the sentiments of the man in charge of ensuring the well-being of those within the municipality, the Chief Medical Officer of Health at the Colombo Municipal Council. He says that the number of cases within the area is now stagnant, indicating that there is no drastic rise in infections. It is welcome news given the fact that 4 of the COVID-19 deaths confirmed late yesterday were from the CMC jurisdiction area.
Sri Lanka's COVID-19 fatalities jumped to 116 last night, following 7 more deaths being reported. Among the 7 victims are 4 men between the ages of 48 and 78 and 3 women aged between 50 and 90. The causes of death reportedly range from COVID-19 pneumonia as well as other underlying medical conditions that were exacerbated by the virus. In the meantime, Sri Lanka's active COVID-19 cases rose to 178 today, placing the overall figure at 6,366. This follows the detection of a total of 496 infections yesterday. Out of 167 infections reported yesterday in the Colombo district, 136 were patients residing within the Colombo Municipal Council limits. Meanwhile, 56 patients were reported from the Gampar district yesterday and 53 from the Puttalam district. Health authorities say that 159 of yesterday's cases were of persons whose permanent residences could not be determined.
We have conducted 36,521 PCR tests, and as a result we were able to find 2,030 patients from North Colombo area and also from Central Colombo 2,071 and Central Colombo D2B area 1,106 and also nearly 1,000 patients from the Borella area. From Borella, of course, they are from the police cluster and they are first line contacts. From North and Central Colombo, they are mainly from the fish market, and these patients were the people who are working there, the owners of fish stalls there. Since then, we have increased the number of PCR tests that we are conducting, and as a result you can see this graph where you see 2 lines. The top line shows number of PCRs that we have done and the bottom line shows the number of patients that we have found. So at the beginning we have done only about 150 to 200 PCRs a day, and now we have increased that to 5-fold or rather sometimes 7-fold increase. You can observe from 200 to 1,000 and 1,500 some days. So with this, if the COVID-19 patients are widespread in the society, we presume that we could find them by increasing the number of PCRs, but we could not observe such phenomenon. So it's fairly static, which shows that there is a very good control so far within the city of Colombo.
In the meantime, the number of COVID-19 infected prison inmates now stands at 1,193. This includes 443 of the Valikara prison, 207 at the Mahara prison, and 175 at the old Bogambara prison. In addition, 188 COVID-19 infected inmates have been confirmed from the Colombo remand prison, 75 from the Magazine prison, and 32 from the Kuruvita prison. The remaining 73 patients are spread among the country's other prisons.
We are focusing on where the people are living in the congregate settings like camps and the prison-like places, that we can see that higher number of cases are reporting. This is something that we expect and unavoidable, but we try our best to identify all the cases and to separate them from the other inmates in order to control the spread of the disease.
Meanwhile, the Chief Medical Officer of the Colombo Municipal Council, Dr. Ruan Vijayamuni, had this to say about the rumours in circulation which say the situation within the CMC area is out of control and the public health inspectors are slacking.
There had been some speculations last couple of days that COVID-19 is spreading within Colombo with no control at all and it has gone out of hand. I categorically say it's false, and there is a very good control, and we are doing everything possible to control this and contain this disease to areas where it has emerged. And also we have adopted a very scientific methodology in order to open up, to have an exit strategy for these closed down areas. For example, we are doing random PCR tests and also random antigen tests on them. And also for those who are positive, we have conducted antibody tests also with the help of the Sri Javadanapura University. So what we found was the vast majority of them are at the latter part of the infection, and from antigen tests we have seen 1/3 of them who were positive with the antigen test have already developed antibodies. This is very, very promising sort of a finding. I must say that there was a speculation that my PHIs are not conducting, or rather they are not doing surveillance work. It's not true that they are very, very tired. They are working day and night for last 6 weeks, finding these people, sending them to hospitals, contact tracing, doing all that. But they are doing their job to the letter. They are doing a perfect job. We all owe them, my doctors, the medical officers of health and PHIs, as they are doing a tremendous job. And in order to ease the situation, I have requested the Ministry of Health, the Secretary of Health, and also the Director General of Health Services to give us a couple of doctors and about minimum 15 PHIs so that I can put them there and get a couple of people to rest. As a result, a couple of PHIs have already reported to duty, and I'm awaiting another about 12 PHIs to report to work, and also some doctors to report to work.
Now, the Bandaranaike International Airport has decided to reopen its duty-free facilities for arriving passengers, however, with a new twist in keeping with COVID-19 prevention protocols. Passengers will now be able to make their purchases online and have their goods delivered to their families while they complete their mandated 14-day quarantine period.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic in this year, the international airports worldwide had certain health restrictions where the passengers could not enjoy the entire airport facilities as usual. To the passengers who are arriving through BIA, from the 1st of December, we are resuming our duty-free sales facilities at the arrivals with special arrangements. We are going to maintain the stalls or sales kiosk in the arrival hall where the passengers can come and order their duty-free purchases, and thereafter the shops will arrange to deliver these goods that they purchase to a person they nominate or to their residences as the passenger. Another facility that we are going to provide the passengers arriving at BIA in time to come is that we will be facilitating them to order these duty-free items online. On arrival, they can verify their purchases at the stalls maintained by the duty-free shops in the arrival hall. And the custom formalities also will be done at the same location. And then the passengers can leave to their quarantine centers or to the hotels. And also, we will be facilitating those who have already arrived in Sri Lanka and who has not been able to use their duty-free facilities so far, also will be permitted to come to BIA after their quarantine period and do their duty-free purchases.
We will see you shortly after this break. Stay with us.
Ceylon Bank, the bank with a heart.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, National Security Advisor of India, Ajit Doval, has met leader of the Tamil National Alliance, R. Sambandhan, yesterday before concluding his visit to Sri Lanka. Doval was in the island for a trilateral discussion on maritime cooperation and security. An Indian media outlet says that in an apparent last-minute addition to his two-day itinerary in Colombo, Doval met Sambandhan at India House and the talks lasted about 30 minutes. It quotes Sambandhan as saying that matters pertaining to the development of Sri Lanka and the development of the North and East were discussed. Colombo High Court acquitted former Minister Basil Rajpaksha from the Divinanguma case that accused him and 3 others of misappropriating a sum of 2,992 million rupees belonging to the Department of Divinanguma. Furthermore, the Colombo High Court also ordered 2 travel bans imposed on him to be lifted following motions submitted by his legal counsel.
The Colombo High Court today acquitted former Minister Basil Rajapaksa and 3 others over the Divineguma case. They had been accused of misappropriating 2,992 million rupees of funds of the Department of Divineguma by dispersing the sum as housing aid. In addition to Rajapaksa, the other 3 defendants of the case, former Secretary to the Ministry of Economic Affairs, Dr. Nihal Jayatilaka, former Director General of Divineguma Department, Kitsiri Ranawaka, and former Deputy Director General of the same department, Bandula Tilakasiri, were also acquitted and released from the case. When the case filed during the Government of Good Governance was taken up today, High Court Judge R. Gunasinghe said that the Divineguma Housing Aid Program had been worked off with a decision taken unanimously by the Divineguma Board of Management. He noted that the evidence suggests the program was not conducted solely on the need of the defendant. Further, it appears that the Divineguma Bank was not gazetted under the Banking Act, and since its money is not of Divineguma beneficiaries, it cannot be interpreted that the relevant bank as one coming under the Public Property Act. The judge went on to say that the housing aid is dispersed among Divineguma beneficiaries and not for the private use of the defendant. While delivering the ruling, High Court Judge R. Gunasinghe said the defendants are being acquitted since the complainant had failed to prove the allegations levelled at the defendants beyond reasonable doubt. Meanwhile, the Colombo High Court also ordered 2 travel bans imposed on Basil Rajapaksa be lifted. It follows a motion submitted by the legal counsel of the former Minister of Economic Development. It relates to a case filed by the Attorney General against Basil Rajapaksa and another over misappropriating 29.2 million rupees of the Department of Divineguma Development in 2015. Legal counsel for the former minister told the court that as the chairperson of the Presidential Task Force in charge of economic revival and poverty eradication, his client has to travel abroad for official matters. The lifting of the second travel ban on Basil Rajapaksa relates to the case filed against him alleging that 38 million rupees was misappropriated by the defendant during the 2015 presidential election by purchasing GI pipes and distributing them among local authorities island-wide. The overseas travel ban too was lifted after High Court Judge Dhammika Ganepola took the motion filed by the defendant's legal counsel into consideration.
Now, Dr. Sudarshini Fernandipillai has taken oath as the State Minister for Primary Health Services, Infectious Diseases and COVID-19 Prevention. She has been serving as the State Minister of Prisons Reforms and Prisoners Rehabilitation since April 2020. President's Media Division said that Fernandipillai was sworn in to her new state ministry before President Gotabaya Rajapaksa this evening. We will see you shortly. Bear with us. Welcome back. This is First at 9. Now, the central bank has issued amendments to the Circular Number 11 of 2020 on debt moratorium for COVID-19 affected businesses and individuals. Accordingly, the CBSL announces that the deadline for the submission of request by eligible borrowers to avail the concession has been extended until the 10th of December this year. It said that non-bank financial institutions are required to finalize the decision and communicate the decision in writing to the applicant within 45 days of submitting the request. As a new requirement, the central bank has also stated that all chief executive officers and compliance officers are responsible to lay down the procedure to be followed in granting the relief measures and instruct the branch level staff accordingly. Now, taking a look at the Colombo Bourse, Sri Lanka stocks closed 1.02% higher today, with the all-share price index gaining 62.9 points, while the S&P SL20 index of more liquid stocks gaining 1.8%. Meanwhile, market turnover was 2.4 billion rupees, with 119 stocks gaining and 69 closing down. Now, here's a brief report on today's market performance.
Today the market was up again yet for the 5th consecutive trading session as the market surged by around 62 points. The S&P SL20 also spiked by around 20 points, with the blue chips gaining ground. So we saw again a significant amount of retail participation. It has been climbing over the last 5 trading sessions, and the turnover has now reached about 2.4 billion with sizable turnover levels in the market. There is mixed signals, with blue chips also having some turnover levels. net foreign outflow was a very low figure of just 4 million rupees. However, on the larger categories, we saw a net foreign inflow coming in. There is high net worth and institutional participation as well.
In the meantime, the Sri Lankan rupee closed at 184 rupees and 80 cents to 186 rupees and 10 cents to the US dollar in the spot market today, with the gilt yields remaining unchanged in the overall market. The rupee closed at 184 rupees and 90 cents to 185 rupees and 20 cents to the dollar last Friday. Now let's take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other major currencies during the day. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.